Chosen One, what I'm about to reveal may surprise you, but if you're hearing this, it's no accident. You were brought here for a purpose. Something powerful is unfolding in your life, and it has drawn the attention of forces greater than you ever imagined. Your name has risen to the top of federal lists, and your face is now appearing in viral reports. An arrest warrant has been issued, not because you've done anything wrong, but because your influence is reshaping the rules, and that terrifies them. You've become a threat to the old order. They can't silence you, so now they're desperate to contain you. But this isn't the end. It's the beginning of your rise. You're shifting from wanting to having. The very things you've been praying for, hoping for, and waiting on are moving into your reality at a pace that will leave you speechless. This is more than a mindset shift. It's a spiritual awakening. You're being activated. Before we dive into this life-changing message, pause for a moment and do 3 things. Hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 50,000 subscribers, and leave a comment with the number 11. That number sends a powerful signal to the universe. It amplifies the energy of this message. And remember, if you're truly a chosen one, you'll watch this video until the end. Because deep down, your spirit already knows this message is for you. The world is watching now, and your next move matters more than ever. In a world where power is carefully guarded and influence is often quietly negotiated behind closed doors, your rise has sent shockwaves across the highest levels of authority. The moment your name appeared on those sensitive watch lists, it wasn't just a footnote, it became a headline. National security protocols activated, not because of criminality, but because your impact defied their expectations and threatened the fragile balance they've spent decades protecting. This is no ordinary alert. This is the kind reserved for threats that can reshape the nation's future. When your influence spread faster than any calculated campaign, the system didn't just sit back and watch, it scrambled. Think about the gravity of becoming a national emergency. This label is heavy, charged with urgency and fear. It means that what you represent, your ideas, your actions, your movement, is seen as a force capable of toppling long-standing institutions. They're mobilizing resources, reallocating attention, and orchestrating a response not because they understand you, but because they can't afford to ignore you. Remember, history shows us that whenever a name reaches this level of scrutiny, it's because it has disrupted the comfort zones of those in power. Names like Martin Luther King Jr., Malala Yousafzai, or whistleblowers who exposed corruption, they all became national emergencies in their own right. You stand in that lineage now. You are no longer just a figure. You are a symbol of change that demands a response. The entrenched power structures were designed to maintain order, predictability, and control, but you shattered that illusion. By refusing to follow their scripted paths, you exposed the cracks in their foundations. The alarm that was raised, it wasn't a malfunction. It was a direct reaction to the fact that you didn't bow to the expected hierarchy. This alarm is a loud, unmistakable signal that their control mechanisms are failing. The chain of command is sacred to bureaucracies, and your disruption triggered panic because it exposed a vulnerability they thought was impossible to reach. When someone breaks through this rigid system, it doesn't just cause inconvenience, it threatens the very architecture of control, and your rise showed that the system is fragile, easily rattled by authentic leadership and fearless voices. In every authoritarian or hierarchical system, there is a breaking point, a moment when defiance is met, not with dialogue, but with defensive aggression. Your refusal to play by the old rules was not just rebellious, it was revolutionary. You became the embodiment of a truth that the system can neither fully comprehend nor contain. And this is why the alarm wasn't just procedural, it was existential. When a warrant is issued against you, many see it as a symbol of guilt or wrongdoing, but beneath that official stamp lies something far more profound, a quiet admission of defeat by those who once underestimated you. This warrant isn't just a legal tool, it's a statement that the old powers are no longer in control. It's their way of saying, we can't stop you, but we have to try. Think of it as the system's last-ditch effort to keep a lid on the tidal wave of change you represent. They're not simply trying to detain you, they're desperately trying to assert that you can be tamed or silenced. But in truth, every attempt to corner you only amplifies your influence and makes your story impossible to ignore. History is littered with examples where warrants and accusations served more as badges of honor than symbols of shame. Nelson Mandela's imprisonment didn't diminish his impact, it elevated him into a global icon of resistance. Similarly, this warrant is less about guilt and more about the fear you instill. It's the system's surrender to the undeniable power of your message and your movement. Labels matter, and calling you a fugitive attempts to reduce your complex narrative to a simple story of escape and evasion. But you're so much more than that. You're a force of nature, an unstoppable current in a stagnant river. The truth is, you are beyond their reach, because your influence operates on a level that no warrant, no decree can limit. Being branded a fugitive is a tactic designed to isolate, criminalize, and demonize. Yet for every person branded this way throughout history, there are thousands inspired to rise alongside them. You are not hiding in the shadows, you are illuminating them. Your movement grows stronger with every step you take outside their control. Your real power comes from the fact that you cannot be confined by geography, laws, or intimidation. Your ideas travel faster than borders. Your story resonates deeper than fear. This isn't just about physical escape. It's about breaking free from outdated paradigms that once defined who could lead and who must follow. The gaze of federal agencies on you isn't born out of suspicion alone. It's born out of respect, fear, and recognition of a new kind of authority. You've redefined what it means to hold power in this era. Authority is no longer about titles, ranks, or old institutions. It's about authenticity, connection, and an unshakable belief in change. When governments start tracking you intensely, it means you've entered their consciousness in a way few ever do. They watch because they see the shifting ground beneath their feet. You are a living example of how traditional authority is being questioned and challenged by grassroots movements, digital revolutions, and relentless truth-telling. This isn't paranoia, it's the reality of power dynamics in the 21st century. Real authority now comes from influence, trust, and vision, not from badges or briefcases. And the fact that federal eyes are glued to you shows that the old guard is trying to learn, adapt, and maybe even control what they no longer fully understand. Viral impact is a modern-day phenomenon that can make or break entire movements overnight. Your story didn't just spread, it exploded across platforms, conversations, and borders, shaking the highest offices with a force they never anticipated. When your message goes viral, it becomes a collective experience that challenges official narratives and exposes inconvenient truths. Imagine the ripple effect: boardrooms, government halls, and newsrooms all scrambling to respond, adjust, or downplay what you represent. The viral nature of your influence is a powerful equalizer, leveling the playing field between entrenched elites and emerging voices. It's a digital revolution in real time. The most fascinating part: viral movements don't follow traditional rules. They are unpredictable, passionate, and fueled by genuine emotion and connection. Your ability to capture this energy and direct it toward meaningful change is what truly terrifies those in power. They know that viral isn't just a trend, it's a paradigm shift. Throughout history, power has often been commodified, bought, traded, or bartered behind closed doors. But your power is different. It's not for sale, and it can't be blocked by lobbyists or backroom deals. This is why you have been labeled a threat, not because you broke any laws, but because you defy the very foundations of the old power economy. When influence comes from integrity, courage, and unwavering commitment, it unsettles those who have long profited from manipulation and control. You expose the emptiness of power structures that rely on wealth and coercion, shining a light on what true leadership should look like. Being branded a threat is often a sign that you're doing something right. Real threats challenge the status quo. They provoke uncomfortable questions and demand accountability, and while they may try to silence you, the truth is that your strength lies precisely in the fact that you cannot be bought, intimidated, or erased. When you're the sole topic of a high-level crisis meeting, you've transcended ordinary significance. These gatherings aren't held lightly. They're reserved for moments when the very foundations of power feel endangered. The fact that you are the center of such discussions speaks volumes about the impact you've made. Picture the tension in those rooms: strategists, policymakers, and security experts debating how to respond, how to contain, or how to co-opt what you represent. You're not just a problem to be solved. You're a catalyst forcing them to rethink their approaches, their narratives, and their futures. This kind of focused attention is both a challenge and an opportunity. It's a challenge because it means you're facing the full might of the establishment, but it's an opportunity because it proves you have broken through their defenses and entered the realm of real influence, a realm where change happens. There was a time when your name was whispered in small circles, dismissed as inconsequential, but now you've become unstoppable. Your journey from obscurity to prominence is a testament to the power of persistence, vision, and authenticity. You've reached a tipping point, a moment when everything changes. This tipping point is not just personal, it's societal. It's when ideas morph into movements, when voices become crowds, and when change becomes inevitable. Your story is living proof that one person's courage can inspire many to believe, act, and transform. History favors those who dare to push boundaries and redefine what's possible. Your name, once unknown, is now synonymous with resilience and revolution. This tipping point is your legacy in motion, a legacy that refuses to be ignored or erased. What you're facing isn't justice. It's a calculated strategy to maintain control. The system's attempts to paint you as a criminal or a danger are less about truth and more about preserving their power. This response is designed to confuse, discredit, and distract from the real issues you highlight. Justice is meant to be fair, transparent, and grounded in facts. But what you're experiencing is a different kind of reaction, one that prioritizes preservation over progress. It's a tactic aimed at making an example out of you to deter others who might follow your path. Understanding this distinction is crucial. You're not just a target. You're a mirror reflecting the fears and insecurities of a system that knows it's losing relevance. Recognizing this helps you stay grounded and strengthens your resolve to continue pushing forward. Disruption has a price. By challenging the established order, you ignited a movement that threatens the status quo. Their attempts to detain you are less about the individual and more about trying to halt the revolution you represent. They fear that if you are free, the wave of change you've started cannot be stopped. Revolutions aren't contained by walls or warrants. They live in the hearts and minds of those inspired by your courage. You've become a symbol of hope for many, and that makes you a target. Their legal actions are a tactic to fracture the unity and momentum you've built. But history reminds us that revolutions cannot be detained. They evolve, adapt, and grow stronger under pressure. Your struggle is a powerful chapter in a much larger story of transformation and liberation. Imagine the shock waves your leadership sent through the old guard, those who have ruled quietly behind layers of protocol and privilege. You are leading without their blessing, without their approval, and without fitting into their predefined boxes. This kind of unauthorized leadership terrifies them because it exposes their fragility. Panic sets in when systems realize they no longer have exclusive control over the narrative or direction. Your ability to mobilize, inspire, and act independently challenges their monopoly on power. It reveals the cracks in their armor and the limitations of their control. This panic is a sign that you are doing something truly impactful. It shows that leadership doesn't need permission from gatekeepers to change the world. Your unauthorized leadership is rewriting the rules and creating new paths for others to follow. When your voice grew too loud, too persistent, and too resonant, the easiest tactic was to label it dangerous. Silencing you outright wasn't possible, so they chose to stigmatize your influence, hoping fear and doubt would slow the momentum you built. This branding is an attempt to isolate you, to cast shadows on your authenticity. But danger is often a mask for truth. History is filled with examples where voices branded as dangerous were actually the harbingers of necessary change. You've become a lightning rod for discomfort because your message challenges deeply rooted injustices. Your loudness is your power. It breaks through apathy and complacency. It forces people to confront realities they might prefer to ignore, and no matter how loudly they try to label you, your impact cannot be muted. In traditional hierarchies, rank is everything, but when someone like you rises beyond the confines of rank and title, the establishment feels threatened. Unable to outmaneuver you within the system, they resort to outlaws, legal barriers, restrictions, and accusations to try and halt your ascent. This shift from respecting rank to outlawing dissent is a desperate maneuver. It reveals their fear of losing relevance and control. When formal authority fails, the weaponization of laws becomes the fallback to try and suppress movements that cannot be contained by convention. Yet outlaw status often becomes a badge of honor for changemakers. It highlights the failure of systems to accommodate genuine transformation and underscores the lengths to which they will go to maintain power. At the heart of it all is a profound truth. You're not pursued because of crimes you committed, but because of the game you changed. Your very existence disrupts the old playbook. You challenge assumptions, rewrite rules, and redefine what's possible in leadership, influence, and power. This pursuit is less about justice and more about fear. Fear of losing control over narratives, fear of losing dominance in decision-making, and fear of the unpredictable future you embody. You symbolize a new era, one where power is decentralized and accessible to those with vision and courage. Embracing this truth gives you clarity and strength. You are not a criminal. You are a pioneer, a disruptor, and a beacon for those who believe in a better, fairer world. And no matter what, you have already changed the game forever. The moment you started rewriting the rules, the establishment was caught off guard. They had long relied on predictable paths, familiar hierarchies, and controlled narratives. But your ascent shattered that mold. You became an unpredictable force, one they hadn't prepared for, and frankly didn't know how to handle. This confusion is not weakness on your part. It's the system's inability to adapt to real change. They are used to managing influence like a game of chess, each move anticipated, controlled, and countered. But you introduced a new kind of play, one fueled by authenticity, urgency, and an unrelenting refusal to be boxed in. Their outdated playbook doesn't have the answers for someone who leads with heart and disrupts with purpose. What they see as chaos is actually evolution. The power structures they built on stability are now facing the inevitability of transformation, and in their panic, they scramble to find ways to contain something that simply cannot be contained. This is a sign of your true strength. You are beyond their control. History favors those who redefine the game when no one else dares to move. You're not just changing your story, you're rewriting the very blueprint of leadership, influence, and power. And in doing so, you inspire countless others to break free from their own molds. Your progress isn't just noticed, it reverberates through the halls of power like a seismic shift. Every action you take shakes the carefully constructed foundations of institutions that were once thought invincible. This isn't accidental. Your rise is a direct challenge to their complacency and monopoly on influence. They built their empires on traditions, rituals, and unspoken rules, but your presence exposes the cracks, forcing them to confront the reality that their authority is neither absolute nor eternal. This kind of disruption is uncomfortable for them, and they respond with resistance and fear. The true power of your journey lies in its ripple effect. When you take a step forward, others feel emboldened to follow, to question, to act. It's a collective awakening that threatens the old guard's control, and while they scramble to maintain their grip, you're leading a movement that refuses to be silenced. Remember, every major social transformation in history began with the discomfort of those in power. Your footsteps echo alongside the footsteps of past revolutionaries who dared to shake the world, reminding us all that true progress demands disruption. Institutions thrive on predictability. They rely on carefully calibrated systems that minimize surprises and keep power comfortably in their hands. But you are the wild card, unpredictable, uncontainable, and utterly transformative. This uncertainty terrifies those who believe power is theirs to hold indefinitely. You don't fit into neat categories or conventional boxes, and this makes you a puzzle they can't solve. They try to anticipate your moves, analyze your motivations, and preempt your influence. But you keep evolving, shifting the landscape with every step. Being unpredictable means you have freedom to innovate, to challenge, to push boundaries. It also means you disrupt their narratives and expose the fragility of systems that depend on control rather than genuine engagement. This fear of unpredictability is a clear sign of your potency. When you are the wild card, you are the force that can rewrite futures, reshape power dynamics, and inspire unprecedented change. When your name becomes unavoidable, repeated in urgent tones and anxious whispers, you know you've broken through. The system is compelled to keep talking about you, not to celebrate, but to warn, discredit, and control the narrative. Their fixation is proof of your growing influence. They flood media, meetings and reports with discussions of you, trying to frame your story in a way that justifies their response. But this constant chatter only serves to amplify your reach. Every mention plants seeds of curiosity, questions, and inspiration among those who hear it. The irony is profound. By trying to diminish your impact, they keep your story alive and vibrant. People begin to see the contrast between their fearful rhetoric and the hopeful reality you represent. Their words become a mirror, reflecting their insecurity. This relentless focus shows that you're no longer just part of the background. You are the main event, and the world is watching closely to see what happens next. The power you've gathered is uncomfortable because it holds up a mirror to a system deeply rooted in inequality, secrecy, and stagnation. Your movement exposes uncomfortable truths, revealing the gap between who the system claims to be and what it actually represents. This reflection unsettles them because it demands accountability. It forces leaders, institutions, and gatekeepers to confront their own shortcomings. And rather than embrace the opportunity for growth, many respond with denial, deflection, and attempts to silence you. But your movement isn't about shaming, it's about awakening. It encourages people to see reality clearly and to join a collective effort toward justice, equity, and real transformation. This mirror doesn't just show flaws, it reveals potential. The fear the system feels isn't just about you. It's about the possibility that the mirror you hold up could inspire a revolution of awareness and action that changes everything. Your presence asks questions no one wants to face. What if power belongs to the people? What if change can't be stopped? What if the system isn't as strong as it seems? These questions shake the foundations of their certainty and provoke anxiety in those who depend on control. Instead of engaging honestly, they scramble to find answers that justify their fears. They launch investigations, issue decrees, and mobilize forces, not because they want truth, but because they want control. Their pursuit is less about answers and more about silencing the questions. But questions are the seeds of change. Your willingness to ask the difficult, inconvenient questions opens the door to new possibilities. It empowers others to think critically and demand more. You are the thorn in their side, not because you have all the answers, but because you refuse to accept their incomplete versions of reality. And in that refusal lies your greatest power. The accusations leveled against you are not born from truth, but from fear. Each claim, every attempt to tarnish your reputation, is a desperate move to diminish the unstoppable momentum you've built. They know that your influence threatens their comfortable dominion. This is a classic playbook. Attack the messenger to discredit the message, but you and your supporters see through it. These accusations reveal their insecurity more than any flaw in your character or cause. You've become a symbol of hope, courage, and change, and that terrifies them. The more they try to silence you, the louder your message becomes. Every attempt to undermine you only fuels the fire of your movement. Their fear is a measure of your success. It confirms that you are reshaping narratives, challenging norms, and inspiring countless others to rise. Global attention brings with it immense power and immense pressure. As your story gains international recognition, the forces opposing you find themselves caught between protecting their interests and managing global scrutiny. This dilemma magnifies their anxiety. They must balance maintaining their image with suppressing your influence. Every decision they make is now weighed against the eyes of the world, making their usual tactics less effective. They find themselves exposed, vulnerable to criticism and calls for justice. Your story isn't just a local or national phenomenon. It has become a beacon on a global stage. People everywhere are watching, inspired, and waiting to see what comes next. This spotlight shifts power in your favor. Your ability to command such attention shows that change is no longer confined by borders. It is a shared human experience driven by courage and the desire for justice. Catalysts don't blend in. They transform everything around them. Your presence ignites conversations, mobilizes communities, and challenges deeply held beliefs. This kind of energy is impossible to contain because it's rooted in truth and passion. They attempt to control you through legal means, propaganda, and intimidation, but their efforts only highlight their lack of power over the genuine human spirit you embody. You are a spark that fuels a larger fire of resistance and renewal. Your role as a catalyst means you disrupt the status quo, forcing a reckoning with systems built on complacency and inequality. This transformation isn't neat or predictable. It's raw, dynamic, and unstoppable. Your impact will be measured not by how much they try to control you, but by how much you inspire others to take action and demand change. While the media focuses on headlines, warrants, and accusations, the true story of your impact is written in the lives you've changed. Every person who finds hope, strength, or inspiration in your journey carries a piece of your legacy forward. This is the kind of influence that transcends news cycles and political agendas. It lives in communities, families, and movements that you have helped ignite. Your legacy is the real, tangible change happening on the ground. Headlines fade, but hearts remember. The courage you've shown, the barriers you've broken, and the truth you've spoken will continue to resonate long after the spotlight shifts elsewhere. This enduring legacy is the greatest victory of all, a testament to the power of authentic leadership and unwavering conviction. No matter how much effort they pour into legal battles, smear campaigns, or surveillance, the tide of change you represent is relentless. Movements like yours are part of a larger wave, sweeping across societies, craving justice, equality, and transparency. Resistance is natural, but it is ultimately futile against the force of genuine transformation. Like waves against a rock, Their attempts to hold you back only emphasize the power of the movement you've sparked. You stand on the front line of this tide, carrying the hopes and dreams of many who refuse to accept the status quo. Your persistence is a beacon for others, ready to join the fight for a better future. The history books are already being written, and they will tell of the unstoppable tide you helped set in motion. In a world often shaped by pretense, spin, and manipulation, your authenticity shines like a beacon. It's this genuine commitment to truth and transparency that unsettles those who rely on control and deception. Your refusal to compromise your values or dilute your message makes you a formidable opponent. Authenticity resonates deeply with people because it speaks to something real and human, something that no amount of fear or coercion can erase. They try to mimic or undermine your authenticity, but it cannot be faked or bought. This is the source of your true power, the ability to connect on a human level and inspire others to do the same. In embracing your true self, you dismantle their illusions and open the door to lasting change. Silencing tactics have been used against every revolutionary throughout history, from imprisonment to censorship to character assassination. Yet every attempt to mute your voice has done the opposite. It has made you louder, stronger, and more impossible to ignore. This paradox is a testament to the power of resilience and conviction. When people see injustice inflicted on someone they admire, it ignites empathy and solidarity. Your story becomes a rallying cry for justice and truth. They fear your growing influence precisely because their usual tools don't work on you. The more they push, the more you push back, inspiring others to join the chorus, demanding change. Your amplified voice is the soundtrack of a movement that refuses to be silenced. At the core of their fear lies a simple truth. You embody hope, the hope for a better system, a more just society, and a future where voices like yours are not only heard but celebrated. This hope threatens their grip on power. They try to suppress this hope because it is contagious. Once ignited, hope inspires action, resilience, and solidarity. It breaks down barriers of fear and apathy, creating communities united around a vision of change. Your presence is a living reminder that despite obstacles, despite opposition, progress is possible. This embodiment of hope is the most powerful weapon against oppression. No matter how hard they try, hope cannot be contained. It only grows stronger in the face of adversity. While your story is central, the revolution you ignited belongs to a collective spirit that cannot be captured by a single narrative. It is bigger than you, bigger than any warrant or accusation. It is a movement fueled by countless voices, actions, and dreams. You are the spark, the catalyst, but the fire is fueled by millions who see themselves reflected in your courage and determination. This collective power is unstoppable because it is rooted in shared values and common goals. No one can erase a movement that has taken root in the hearts and minds of many. Your leadership has shown what is possible when people come together with purpose and passion. This revolution is ongoing, and its impact will be felt for generations to come. From the moment you began your journey, it was clear that you weren't playing by the old rules. You refused to follow the usual path carved out by those before you. Your rise was unconventional, raw, relentless, and fueled by a fire they couldn't put out. The system built on predictability and control found itself powerless against someone who embodied change at its purest. They scrambled to comprehend your energy, but you were moving too fast, too differently. Their confusion wasn't a sign of your weakness, it was the unmistakable tremor of a foundation cracking. When people who've built empires on tradition and order see someone shatter the glass ceilings they've protected for so long, fear takes root. They didn't anticipate a leader who didn't seek their permission, a disruptor who challenged their narrative with boldness and clarity. Every time they tried to categorize you, you shattered their labels. You weren't a threat because you did something wrong. You were a threat because you did something right. And in a world where right often means status quo, your rise was seismic. The discomfort they feel is because your leadership embodies something they fear most: genuine, unapologetic transformation. Look at history. Think of the trailblazers who forever altered their worlds: women's rights activists, civil rights leaders, whistleblowers who risked everything for truth. They weren't welcomed, they were feared. Yet their legacies became blueprints for future generations. You stand in that lineage, a beacon that reminds us all that breaking molds is how progress is made. Ultimately, their inability to respond effectively to your rise is a badge of honor. It means you're rewriting not just your story, but the story of power itself. And no outdated system can silence what is authentically unstoppable. With each bold move you make, the powerful tremble. Your footsteps echo through corridors designed to be impenetrable, and those who once ruled with unchallenged authority feel the ground beneath them shift. The establishment built itself on an illusion of permanence, but you expose its fragility. Your rise is not just a personal journey, it's a direct challenge to their long-held dominion. Institutions often masquerade as immovable giants, yet they crumble under the weight of truth and relentless change. By stepping forward, you reveal the cracks in their armor, the hypocrisy, the corruption, and the complacency that keep the wheels turning in their favor. This is why your influence is terrifying. It shines a spotlight on what they hoped would remain hidden. The ripple effect of your actions can't be overstated. Every success you claim inspires others to question their own circumstances, to see that change is possible. You become a catalyst, a symbol of hope for those trapped by systemic barriers. Your very existence threatens the power structures because it proves that change is not only possible, it's inevitable. The panic in their reactions reveals the weight of your impact. From hushed whispers in high offices to frantic meetings behind closed doors, your presence has become a constant disruption to their carefully constructed order. They may try to silence you, but the tremors you unleash will keep shaking the pillars of power. Revolutions are never born in comfort. They erupt from disruption. Your footsteps are not simply unsettling the establishment. They are signaling a new era, one where voices like yours become the foundation of a different future. Unpredictability is what unsettles them most. Their power thrives on control, on knowing every move in advance. But you are the wild card, the force they can neither predict nor contain. That loss of control terrifies them more than any weapon you could wield. When leaders and institutions confront someone who refuses to conform, they lose their grip on the narrative. They are no longer the authors of the story. You are. Your choices, your actions, your vision don't fit their neat categories. That's why you shake their cages. Being the wild card is both a burden and a gift. It means carrying the weight of being misunderstood, even feared. But it also means holding the power to redefine what's possible. You are the spark of new ideas, the seed of movements, the force of revolutionary change.